When you're guessing each day, you're reacting. When you're reacting, you're not fully focused on the main task. What's going on? You're listening to episode 19 of the Perspective Podcast, and I'm your host, Scotty.D.Russell of Perspective Collective. This show is about encouraging you to push your creative career forward. Whether you're like me and you have a day job, maybe you have a family at home you're working around, maybe you just say you don't have time. I'm here to convince you that it is possible, and I want you to know you have something to offer this world. Today's episode spawns off a lot of the topics that people on my newsletter say they're struggling with. Many people say that they go to bed each night feeling unaccomplished. They're not really sure how to, create or design their day-to-day, especially if they have the day job, they have the family. So this is my response to these people to try and help the best way I can, because I used to be in your shoes. I used to never get anything done. I would go to bed each night wondering, what did I even do today? How am I moving the needle forward? And I am a person who lives a really highly structured life. Like, I need routine. Growing up, playing football, coaching, playing tons of sports. I was even a personal trainer for a while, and I just needed a structured routine. I need to know what's going on each hour of my day so I can be my most productive. So even if you are a person who doesn't like structure, you like going with the flow, the topic of today's episode still can help you push your creative goals to the next level. And I'm not a fun hater. I believe that this is going to help you have more freedom in your life to do more guiltless things like watching Netflix or enjoying whatever it is you want to do. So today's episode is going to be about stop reacting, and I'm going to give you the most underrated productivity tip for creatives. I'm going to take a shot in the dark, and I'm guessing you're someone who likes to get shit done. I know for me, I get my jollies when I'm getting things crossed off my to-do list. And just so you know, I use something like Wunderlist, and I'll show you the link to that in the show notes, okay? It's perspective-collective.com/19 for this one. But first things first, I am definitely not claiming to be a productivity guru. That is not my thing. Look into someone like Sean Blanc or Cal Newport. I'll link them up in the show notes too, so you can really listen to people who I feel are experts. I'm just a dude who's trying to be more productive than busy, because being busy is not the same as getting shit done. Being busy just means you have a lot of things going on, but you're not really doing anything. I strictly just want to share with you what's been working for me as a creative, what's been giving me the best results over these last couple years, and I also want to share what isn't working. And what wasn't working for me was winging it each day. Whenever I tend to go with the flow and don't have a plan, I find myself reacting all day to the things around me. I find myself barely making any progress in a million directions. I find myself making excuses for why I never have the time. And I tend to go to bed feeling like I got nothing done, feel pretty worthless. Eventually, I stumble across one little change that I began implementing right before I went to bed at night. I started planning out that one thing, sometimes three, but let's just start with one. I started planning out that one thing that needs to get done the next day to push me towards my creative goals. This one main task is going to be called your frog. Sounds weird, but I'll explain why in a second. So if you're one to wing it each day and you can relate to how I used to feel, then seriously consider this underrated productivity tip. Basically, I just want you to stop reacting and eat your frog. So Brian Tracy, the author of Eat That Frog, linked up in the show notes, talks about keeping the most important task top of mind. That most important task is your frog, and you have to eat your frog first before you move to less important tadpole tasks. And the way I see this as is you have to eat your dinner, the main thing on your plate, before you can move to dessert, the lower priority thing, even though it might be higher priority to you. But there's a difference between what you have to do and what you want to do. So when you're winging it each day, You're eating your tadpoles and possibly something completely unrelated first. You're just eating dessert all day instead of eating something that's going to nourish you or move you forward or energize you. I hope this metaphor is making sense, and honestly, I sincerely hope you're visualizing eating frogs and tadpoles at the moment. That was the whole point. For me, I am a one-man army, and I wear a lot of hats in my business, and people in my shoes, they totally get what I'm talking about. One moment I'm a writer, one moment I'm creating, art, drawing. The next moment I'm having to do fulfillment, shipping, packaging. Then I'm social media marketing. It's a lot of things. There's so much to do that I can't go around guessing anymore, as each day is a valuable opportunity to get to where I want to be quicker. When you're guessing each day, you're reacting. When you're reacting, you're not fully focused on the main task, which is your frog. When I started planning out my frog the night before, I started gaining a ton of clarity, and most importantly, I saw progress. So what's your frog? For me, my frogs tend to vary. What makes my business go is writing, podcasting, and drawing, either for the podcast or for freelance. When writing is the frog, I mind map my topic the night before so I can let my mind marinate on everything overnight. When I wake up, I know exactly what I need to do, and there is no guessing. Of course, all of this comes after I pour my first cup of coffee. Okay, I'm not playing around. I need my coffee first. That's me. That's what I need. Without planning your frog the night before, though, you're waking up and reacting. Are you getting the point here? I want you to stop reacting. You can't take action when you have to think about what you should be doing. By planning your frog the night before, you don't have to guess what to attack the next day. You'll slowly get more accomplished and get closer to your goals. You'll get your work done quicker so you can have more free time. And that's to speak to the objection of someone who doesn't want structure in their life, or someone who doesn't want to plan their next day. Man, I'm just telling you to plan one thing and get it done so you can free yourself up to do more of the things you want to do. And it's all about creating a nightly habit so you can kick ass in your following day's routine. Whether you have a strict routine like me or you have a loose routine, you build some margin in it. So here's my secret nightly ritual for kicking ass the next day. And it's not really a secret. I just thought that sounded cool. Could have been a cool title. I'm just going to roll with it. At 9 p.m. every night, I have my homegirl Siri set a reminder to notify me to plan out my next day. So when I get this reminder, I typically will go in my office if I'm not already in there, or I'll be upstairs laying in bed, and I write down in my passion planner my 1, sometimes up to 3 frogs that need to be eaten in order to move my business forward. And the main goal, obviously, I'm going to continue to share it because I want to share the journey along the way until I get to this goal and show you that it is possible. That number 1 goal for me is making Perspective Collective a full-time business. I'm not there yet. I feel it, but there's a lot of things I need to learn on the business side, and I need to learn a lot more about myself mentally to make this even a possibility. After I plan my 1 to 3 frogs at night, for you, just start off with 1. I'm going to go to bed shortly after that, and it might be a little too woo-woo for you, but for me, I truly believe my mind is subconsciously planning for me so I can just wake up and do my thing. Like, my mind's working, plotting, planning, scheming, putting together the pieces for me, so when I wake up, I'm ready to go. For me, it was a successful day if 1, I showed up, and then 2, I got the main frog eaten. If there is more time in my schedule after eating that first frog, I know exactly the next frog that I need to devour. So that's why for me, it works best if I plan 1 to 3 things. So are you ready to stop reacting? If you're tired of winging it and going to bed each night feeling unaccomplished, try this 1 tip out. What do you have to lose? Each night, plan 1 thing that needs to be done the next day. That's it, just 1 thing. I'm not telling you you have to live by a strict scheduled routine like I do each day. That's what works for me. I'm not saying that's what works for you. Go with the flow in most parts of it, but just plan a portion out of it. Hell, knocking out 1 thing each day will not only help you get more done, but it's also going to give you more guiltless freedom in a day to do what you want. Stop living a life of reacting each day. Plan your frog the night before, and I'm confident it will be your most underrated get shit done tactic in your daily routine. I hope that me sharing the things that didn't work for me in the past and, the things that are working for me in the present maybe gives you a different perspective of what maybe you could apply in your life, okay? Or maybe what you definitely shouldn't, because you and I are different, okay? So don't feel like you have to structure your whole day out like I need. I need structure. I don't like guessing. I have anxiety, okay? It gives me anxiety when I don't know what's next. I don't like not having things planned out. That's me. That's my little OCD thing. That's my weird little quirk, but at the end of the day, I have a lot of fun being productive, knowing that I'm making measurable progress. I spent too much of my life not seeing progress, so now that I'm finally figuring it out, this works for me. And I want to share what works for me, and you can be the judge if you want to apply it for yourself. But at the end of the day, nobody wants to just react all day to life. That's all I want to do. Just encourage you to just think about trying new tactics in your life. Maybe it's just that one thing that's going to help you get to the next level. That's all. If you're feeling the show, I would sincerely appreciate a kind, positive feedback review on iTunes. I've read the ones that have been shared so far. It makes my day. You have no idea how much your kind words and encouragement mean to me. I'm an encourager, but sometimes encouragers need encouragement as well. It's easier to stay up all the time and be positive than it is to get knocked down and try to get back up again. So, your kind words help out so much. Anybody who's reached out through email or wrote me just a nice message, or you wrote or shared the show on social media, like seriously, even that's great too. I don't want to rely on that, but damn, it really makes me feel good, and it makes me feel like I have a purpose with this show. So thank you so much. That's how you can give back to the show. Otherwise, if you want to find me online, you can find me at perspective-collective.com. That's where you can link up with my Instagram account. That's where you can find me on Snapchat. That's the one-stop shop. That's where the blog, the podcast show notes, the resources page. I have a resources page filled with every art tool that I use, every book, every podcast I consume. It's all everything I learned and what works for me. I share it with you there on the resources page. And there's also a link if you want to contact me, hire me out for commission, artwork, or public speaking. Everything is at perspective-collective.com. Oh yeah, and I just dropped my first official sticker pack. It's a nice little stocking stuffer for the creative in your life. It's $10, free U.S. shipping, 4 custom unique designs with a little story and narrative behind them. And honestly, I just want them to boost your imagination during the holidays for that creative in your life. And that's also at perspective-collective.com in my shop. Otherwise, I just need to give a big thank you to Nick Jenkins of Blookah for the theme music of this show. You can find him at soundcloud.com/Blookah, Blookah. And as always, I want to encourage you to just keep showing up, keep putting in the work, and keep creating. You got this.